All right, so the next trick that this touch drive can do is change the bus map. So change the order in which your sources show up physically on your buttons there. So to do that, there are 3 ways of doing it. Might as well show you all 3. We'll start with the old school way. So through the physical panel here, if you hit the menu button, you'll see you've got, what is that, 10 menus, which is just like your old panel. But you have a config button, just like you did. So if you tap config, you now see there's an option called bus map. Tap the middle knob.
Tap the sub.
Yep. So now you're looking at cross point button 1, and then you see that there is black, BK, for main, and the shifted side of it is BG. And it says shift 1. So you'll see that there's a shift button here on the physical panel, and if you hold down the shift, you'll see you're going to get a whole different set of choices. So you have 2 levels. You can actually have up to 6 shift levels, which is a new thing. So you can bury some stuff in there, and you can get to anything you really need, but usually 1, 2 is good. Anywho, we're doing our bus map. So you'll spin that first knob to choose the button that you want, and as you cycle through, you'll see the sources change, and they are corresponding to what you should see on your physical panel. So when you get to button 8, you notice that main and shift 1 totally blank. So if you hold the shift key down on the physical panel, you'll see that that button is also blank as well. So we don't have any sources assigned to it. So I'm going to get you to assign a source to it, so you can let go of the shift. So now if you spin this for the middle knob, the one for the top level, that main level, you see as you spin it, you'll see the source name change, and if it was on preview or program, you would see it light up. Okay? So this is where you kind of have to be at one with the menu system and how the order of sources are. This is why I call it the old school method. This is how we had to do it in the olden days. All right, so that's method number 1. So it's just as easy as dial it up, leave it at where it's at. If you want to change the shifted one, spin the shift knob, and it's the same deal, but you'll see it on when you hold the shift button down. Right.
Okay.
Method 1, old school. All right, method number 2, touch drive way. So you see that there is a border around the preset. If you tap on that, you're now in your bus map editing mode. And you'll see in the touch home area, so that's this area on the right, you have 2 columns, assign, insert, clear, delete, and exit. Then you've got, in the other column on the left, you've got external, so those are your physical inputs, internal, so those are the switcher created sources, so preview, program, media store, auxes, that kind of stuff. Buses, so buses are like, hey, what's on the preview bus of an ME, what's on the program bus, what's on the key bus. Those are all valid sources you can select. And then you've got auxes there. And so if you were to tap on aux, you now get to see all of the selections from your aux. So you've got 28 of those, right? Okay, so how do we map it to a physical button? On the preset row, go ahead and hit a button that you want to change. So that's, now what button did you select? You selected that button. The only way you can see if you're looking at one row what you selected is the word down here. It says podium. So it's just to the left of the exit button. Because you've got 2 rows, you can use this row here to kind of, because I said the cross points are same straight up and down, you'll see that that button there is your podium. So it matches up. So now, if you were to pick any one or tap any one of these labels here, so maybe do aux 20. You'll see it changed here in the bottom left and also on row 1. So there's aux 20 now. And the reason it worked that way is because we are in the assign mode. If you were in the insert mode, it would have inserted that source, and all of the other sources here would have got shifted to the right. Now the problem with that is it shifts it to the right. The one at the end falls off the table. Problem is you can't get it back, so you have to program. So that's in assign, just replaces whatever source is there with the new choice. Insert moves everything to the right. Clear allows you to clear that out. So if we wanted to have no source assigned to that button at all, so if you tap the clear mode, you'll see now your labels all come back up, but just tap aux20 and see you've removed it. Now delete, if you were to go to the delete mode and hit delete in that spot, that empty spot, you see everything move to the left. So it's the opposite of an insert. So you notice everything moved over one. So go into an insert mode, and I would like you to find the podium source, which this always sort of throws me off. You've got internal and external. External is the podium, so there are your choices. Hit podium, and there you go. It put your podium in, moved everything back to the right. So we're back to where we were. Exit the bus map, and you get you back to now you're in your regular programming mode. So when you're in that bus mode, that bus mapping mode from the touch drive, your preset row is making the selection of which you want to edit. It's not going to change it on your program output. So while you can do a bus map edit on the fly, which is kind of cool, you got to be paying attention. It's not like you got to remember to exit out, otherwise you can mess your bus map up. All right, that one's an easy one to watch back in. All right, so that was the second method. Third method, which actually might be the easy one. It's the dashboard way. So if you hit the menu navigation in the bottom right corner there, hit it so that you get a choice. There is a personality setting, and in that personality setting at the bottom there, you should see bus map. So what you're going to see now is there are 3 buttons at the top. That is just your button selection. So you're seeing buttons 1 through 10 at the moment. Then you've got 11 through 20, and then 21 through 25. So you can tap on any one of those. So if you pick an empty one, now you get to choose what source goes in there. So you've got categories at the top, those gray buttons, or the light gray buttons, and then the dark gray are the actual sources that you can tap on. There you go. Some might say that this is better than the old school method, but you can't do an insert moving thing over. So if you know what you want right from the get-go, then this could be an easier way. But I'd argue, messing around with a touch drive, it can be pretty quick too. So personal preference as to which one you get to use. All right, while we're in personality, let's look at that. So all the way to the bottom left there, you've got a general button. So starting at the top there, we have editor port. Don't worry about it. This is if we were doing third-party control, I think, if something else is controlling this. Button brightness. Now, if you guys go into stealth mode when you do a production, as in turn the lights off, it's a little bright. And so this is the menu that you'd come in, and so tap in where it says 100, and you'll see you get this 10 key on the touch screen. Go ahead and type in 25. Hit enter, and you can see everything knocks down. Makes it easier to see on camera now too, probably. The what do we got there? Rate, sorry. Glasses at this far back. You'll see it says frames or seconds. I don't know anybody that uses seconds, but you've got next option is your sleep mode, power save or sleep, and then your value there is 20. So yeah, after 20 minutes of it not being touched, it goes into the raindrop screensaver mode. I think that's totally fine, because if you've got a production where you don't touch a shot for 20 minutes, You're doing cool TV. Not. Your toggle shift. So I don't know if you noticed, you had to hold the shift down and keep it held down to see a second layer of sources, right? You can set that to toggle, so go ahead and do that. So now select, you just had to hit it once, hit it again to get out of it. So it might be helpful if you are, say, switching a bunch of sources on that shifted side. You have to hold it down and switch the show, you can sort of toggle into it. But if you switch it off and double tap the shift button, faster. There you go. It's now flashing, it's locked in. So another way of locking yourself into that shifted mode. All right, memory bank, the next option there. You got normal or legacy. It's sort of to do with your eMem pad here. There is a bank button, so to get through, you notice we've only got 10 keys there, but you've got 100 memories, so how do you get through to memory 55? You go bank 5. Legacy was you just kept hitting bank and it would increment. It would go from bank 5 to bank 6. Either way, you can hold down the word bank and then tap a number and that will jump you into that bank. Here it is a bank and it's waiting for you to pick bank 7. So now whereas if that was old school, you'd have to hold the bank and the bank number down. Okay. Memory undo. I can talk about this in theory, but I've never used it. So memories are saving a state the switcher is in, what's in preview, what's in program, what's in your keys, whether keys are on or off. Recalling a memory loads that state in. I typically recall a memory if I want to go somewhere else. I recall another memory or I switch from there. The memory undo function lets you recall that memory. It loads in. You recall the memory again. If you haven't touched anything, it goes back to the previous state that the switcher was in. So, kind of explains what an undo is, isn't it? All right. The next options here to the right, you've got CC mnemonics. So you notice now at the moment we have the name of the source and then we've got an icon for that source, and these are all customizable. But when we go into a custom control mode, we are splitting the view. So if I were to go to custom control bank 4, you'll see that sources show up at the bottom, but nothing shows up on the top because there aren't any custom controls in that bank. We go to custom control bank 1, there we go. We got some so this is the top part of the LED screen is referring to the top row, and the bottom is the sources on your background, which is your program bus. Okay. Next option at the bottom is your transition. So this is, again, personality, how this switcher behaves. You've got at the top there, no transition, no reset or reset. So the idea that every time I do a wipe or a DVE move, after I do that, it resets it back to a dissolve. I'm not a fan of that. If I want to do a dissolve, I'm going to select a dissolve. If I want to do a wipe, it's a wipe. So, but some people will like to have it reset. Your next one is the next transition area, off and toggle. So this one I have an internal problem with because I always learned you have to do the Vulcan hand grip to get more than one key selected. So if I wanted keys 1, 3, and 4 with the background, I would have to hit background 1. I'd have to punch them down. So it's like hold them all down at the same time. You can now just hold one of them down and then just tap the others and it will add them. So you don't have to just whack them. So this option here, toggle keys, where is that? That's that one there, right? Remove keys, toggle, there we go. So the idea is now I just keep tapping what I want and it turns it on, toggles it on or off, on or off. I could see myself chasing that a lot. Like, oh no, don't mean that one, oh, you. So, you mispress. It doesn't, and the background bus double tap does work. So I'm going to turn that back off. Remove keys. That will, it's like the next transition area where it defaults you back to dissolve. It will remove the keys from that next transition area so you don't inadvertently stick them back on again. Yeah, that might be helpful, but I find it more problematic because maybe I do want a graphic to go back in. I've gone to a wide shot with a lower third. I want to go to a close-up without it, and then go back to the wide shot with the lower third. That's where that resetting the keys would drive me crazy. All right, background double press. Out the factory it comes in as ignore. I've got it where it says transition clear. The idea, double pressing includes the keys, gets me out of whatever keys I have on. The next area here, also I've adjusted to where they're ignore. It's a double press. So if you're halfway through a transition and you get a nervous TD that hits auto again, by default it would stop halfway through the transition. If I hit auto trans, I'm going the whole way through the transition. I'm not stopping, even if it's the wrong thing. So that's why I've got those for both the Kia and the auto trans. Roll clip at the bottom there is on user. This in the next transition, or next transition, in the transition area, there is a roll clip button. What that does is it will send for a video server, it will send a play command. For expression, we've set it up to send a swap command. So the idea is if I have a graphic queued in expression, when I take the graphic online or when it gets, tallied hot, that graphic will play. So the idea is I can have I don't have to put the key on and then go and take the graphic. It can, as soon as I transition to it, it animates on or comes on air or plays out. If I don't have any graphic queued, nothing, no harm, no foul, it doesn't do anything. The only other channel that is going to work for you is in your media store. So if I had an animation in the media store, it will play automatically when it goes on air. But the choice of letting the operator choose whether to turn it on or off or whether to force it on, that's what that option's for. All right, color scheme. So my favorite is neon, but we know that we've got our software developers have a sense of humor. If you use the on-air color scheme, so go ahead, hit it. It turns everything red, and especially at 100 brightness, it's annoying. But one place that did actually use it, station where whenever they passed a video signal through it, and they turned it to all red. It's like, don't touch. The switch is being used to pass the signal through. And I thought, hey, that's why I tell a story. So it has a use. Some of the things like Julie Pink was it's a color scheme after one of our managers now, but she was the product prime at that time, and that was her favorite color. So go back to neon there. If you decide, hey, my program Emmy, I don't like that color, so if you tap that in that area there, yep, tap it, you'll get a choice. If you hit live and then drag your thumb around on any of the color schemes there, you'll see it actually change in the color palette there. And you can use a mouse. The mouse, this is a good thing to use as well. But the idea is now you can create your own custom color. And when you're happy and you know it, you've got 4 buttons here, 4 customs. So click on one of those. It'll ask you want to save it. You click yes. You'll see now the option at the top is jump to custom 1. So you can go back to neon, or you can use your custom whatever you like. So I'm hesitant to say that everyone can have their own color scheme, because that means that
Don't say that.
yeah, because that means they have to save it to the set. Now, obviously, coming on the show on the day of, you can mess with the colors, but when you save the set, it's going to remember those colors. So that same station that used red, each director wanted their own color scheme, so they loved that. The problem is when one director made a custom control for one particular part of the show, the other person's director's set didn't have that because they got their own color scheme, they got their own set. So that's where that kind of breaks down. So if you're, as a facility, want this custom does this, then one set and everyone uses the same is a good thing. You can always back it up, so if they mess it up or if they delete it or not delete it, really save over it or screw it up, then you got a way back. All right, bus map, we were there earlier. User select. So these are referring to the little buttons, I say little, there's the smaller buttons on row 1 and row 2. You'll also see that there are 3 of these trans buttons, trans 1, trans 2, trans 3. So you'll see on row 2 here, I've set it to be CC Bank 1, CC Bank 2, CC Bank 3. So you'll see that that changes what that top row is doing. So my right hand there can get to 75, will allow you to get to 75 different macros or custom controls. So I like that, but because we call them trans, they're actually good for doing transitions, like if you do a media wipe or you've got 3 versions of it that you can say. So these can be assigned to a particular custom. So if, for example, if you were to pick this one here, these are all the light gray ones are the categories and the dark gray ones are the actual options. So you see there, that's CC Bank 1. It could be, I could choose an aux. I can make the switcher jump from being programmed to ME1 or any one of the mini MEs. I can have it recall a memory. Keys, select a key or a key type. Not that I'd ever want to do that, but memories as well, memory banks. So there's other. We've got show alpha and key preview, which kind of the same. I think the key preview is not a thing in the Ultra, because this touch drive panel can be used in the Carbonite and also the higher end Acuity. Let's say higher end, the more expensive switcher. All right. The last one, menu group access. Probably should talk about it because somebody's going to hit it. This will lock you out of those memories, those menu items, configuration, what is it, live assist and custom control and view control. So in dashboard, it's not going to show up. So it simplifies the interface. But I have I'm like, user live assist and custom control. It's a big part of the switcher. You don't want to hide that. But this is where you come to fix it when somebody hits those buttons. Yes. We're trying to sort of simplify the interface for some setup, for some users.